Okay, so this is just our closing in reflection. So we're just going to be talking about, and thinking about what transpired over the past 10 weeks, kind of what we learned, what we gained, and things we would change, and kind of gave y'all a heads up prior to this week, just of things to be thinking about. But our first question is, what have you learned over the last 10 weeks? And I know that's a super loaded question because we've probably learned a lot in the last 10 weeks, but try to pick maybe one or two things that really stuck out or stuck with you that you're gonna kind of carry with you throughout the rest of, I guess, your life.
I think for me, if I write it down, it
Mhm.
really does help.
Yeah, yeah. And we've talked about that in the diet sense, right? And writing that as
And
kind of an
exercise.
accountability. Yeah, and exercise and when we're doing, and have y'all done better with, 'cause we talked about one of the action plans a couple weeks ago. Actually marking down a day in the calendar and putting it on your phone or writing it down or whatever it is that you've decided okay, I'm gonna go walk for 10 minutes or something like that.
Yes.
Good. Yay. Awesome. What about you, Miss Rachel?
So, I feel the same way. I feel like, one thing I learned is writing the grocery list and meal planning.
Yeah.
That has really helped.
Yeah.
Because it takes the worry of what
Yeah.
we're having for supper, which takes stress off me.
Yes. And there's a lot, I feel like sometimes, at least for me, thinking about planning and buying food can feel daunting and okay, I'm gonna be dropping this much money, however much. So I'm glad because that even helped me going through and preparing for that week too. Just breaking that whole process down, and making it easier, more attainable and realistic. What was y'all's favorite week and why, if you can remember? We obviously, the first week, which we had kind of gone over before we started our second week, and just kind of introducing you guys to occupations, different interests, things like that, and exploring that outside of your day to day. And then we created goals. We talked about nutrition. We talked about exercising, with our chronic pain, chronic illness, things like that. We talked about buying, the meals on a budget. So out of all of those plus the more, what would y'all say was your favorite?
My favorite week was when your sister was there and could help with that.
Yep.
Because she literally helped me with life-changing
Yay.
stretches
Yeah.
on my foot, which
Good.
hurts me less and less daily.
Yay. Good. That makes my heart so happy. I'm glad. It's the same for you. I see you nodding your head over there.
Can't remember which was my favorite,
That's okay.
because I've enjoyed them all.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, and we had the mental health and sleep week
Mhm.
too, the time management, organization, all that business.
Yes, and all of it, I implement most of it
Yep.
on a daily basis to help
Good.
myself. That's a truth.
Good. I'm glad. That really does make me happy. So what resources out of, some of the weeks we've mentioned, which ones have you found? And I feel like we kind of already answered this a little bit, but the most helpful. And so you said the meal planning and the budget planning and that, in order to go to the grocery store and shop and all that. Maybe pick another week or resource that you still use, you still try to make your own version of, or somehow implement in your day to day. So think about all of those time management resources I gave y'all and how to organize not only your time, but tasks and for mental health, different coping strategies, and being able to sleep hygiene, preparing our bodies for sleep and self-care routines, things like that. What would be a resource y'all would pick?
All of them. I can't help it because I knew I was in need of all of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I sleep better. my foot hurts less, so I'm in less pain.
Good.
That I'm less stressed because I can have meal plan and that takes away stress of my
Right.
evenings.
Yay.
And your stomach, is it doing better?
Yeah. How's your stomach?
I would say yes, it's doing better.
Good.
Am I better? No, not yet, but
Right.
I'm getting there and it
Good.
does better.
Yeah. And I think that's still gonna be kind of a challenge, moving forward, and we'll get it figured out. I mean, because we've obviously established that it impedes on your, day to day and just maybe even social engagement and things like that, and just not feeling well. Or for me, like I have really like my acid reflux is bad. I'm like belching and, belching in public and things like that. I'm like, I don't want to be, so gassy in front of everyone. But so yeah, so good. I'm glad. If you could change anything about this course, what would it be and why? Try to think if there's one thing.
No,
I don't know.
there's not one thing.
There's no.
Not in my opinion, because of not knowing even this was existed.
Yeah.
Until I seen it on Facebook.
Right.
And then reading every week something pertaining to my life
Good.
that I felt I needed resources or extra that I knew I could get from coming here.
Yeah.
So I would say nothing.
You're sweet. Well, Nate, that's good.
I have to agree with her,
Yeah.
cause it's been the best thing for me.
Yes.
I think it helped us in a time,
Um,
in a situation that we truly needed this.
Yay, good. I'm so glad to hear that. Well,
Well,
that,
you know our background. and you
yeah.
know our
Yeah. Yeah.
story, our life stories. So,
Yeah. Well, y'all have been special. That makes me very happy that I've given you the tools and the equipment that might not be helpful in every aspect, but in some form or fashion has been helpful for y'all.
Yes.
So that's
yes,
encouraging.
And each week, it might not be everything every day, but
Yeah.
every day there's something
Good.
that I've learned from this class
Good.
and going in my life if it wasn't for you, wouldn't be happening.
Good. Well, gosh, I'm so glad. That makes me happy. So I guess this kind of, answers the next question, but do you feel like you have the proper tools and resources to create and maintain a healthy preventative lifestyle? So yeah, nodding our heads, I think, yeah.
You have done a phenomenal job
Yeah.
in making
Thank you.
sure that we have the right resources.
Thank you. Thank y'all. What's something you guys learned about yourself? So throughout this experience, like everything we learned during the experience aside, what is something you learned about yourself? Whether it's like, okay, I'm not as a big, this is just a random example, but okay, I'm not as big of a procrastinator as I thought, because once I kind of do this, and this, like, I'm really set up. Or I learned that I don't know, I eat a lot of bad things that I didn't know I ate, or, kept track of, or whatever it is. Like, what have you learned about yourself throughout this experience?
I eat a lot of bad things. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned that holding myself accountable is probably the best direction that I can take in my life,
Yeah.
because those choices and the poor choices was making the sleep harder.
Yeah.
And not getting the rest, and also just going in the grocery store and buying whatever
Right. Which I was literally
and totally stressed even buying those groceries. Now I don't even stress getting the groceries because I have the list and there's no thought
There you go.
process.
That's
Just get
perfect.
what you need and move on.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad, because I'll be honest. I'll be 100% transparent that at the beginning of this, when I was designing the program and things like that, I wasn't quite sure how this would, I didn't want it to feel like a bunch of random things that then come together and it's just like random topics every week. And I'm really glad kind of how it came together and ended up building on top of itself, because I feel like throughout you guys received the tools that then made other kind of topics or areas that we talked about a little bit easier. And so that makes me happy, because that makes me feel good. Just a couple more questions. But what's something you guys learned about occupational therapy during this experience? So I'm gonna kind of phrase it like this. So what did you guys know slash think about occupational therapy prior to this course or, group? And then what's something that you learned, or how did your perspective of OT change throughout those?
I'll be honest, I
Yeah.
probably didn't even know what an occupational therapist done.
No one really
And
does.
that I ever, if there was anything about the road we went down, no.
Yeah, yeah,
It's totally way more than what I would have ever thought,
yeah.
because when Bill had his stroke,
Mhm,
the OT
mhm.
only wanted him to work with little bitty things with his hand.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yep.
And that's in Winston.
Yeah, yep. So really being able to see like how OTs, like really we look at your activities of
Yeah,
daily living
It's the
and
overall of
yeah,
everything,
Yep.
not just little,
Yes.
yeah,
working little bitty
Complete
things.
well-being.
right.
He was so mad.
No, I mean, and honestly, like we learn in school, and that's why we want to make, the exercises or the activities that we do with individuals meaningful, because one, we've got to motivate that individual, and that's why we use, meaningful occupations or daily occupations that you invest your time in doing every day, to give more meaning to what you're doing and why you want to get back to doing that. And that's why I love OT, because we're really kind of inserting ourselves in that person's life for just,
Mhm.
a split second, and really working with them, and making their lives, making them as independent as possible. And it looks different in a lot of different ways throughout the lifespan. And I think that's why.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it takes the thinking outside the box away from us
There you go. Yeah.
on you, and you can say, hey, maybe this could work, or maybe this, and
Yeah.
so far, everything
Yeah.
has made sense and it
Good.
works.
Yay, good. I'm glad, because this is the side of OT that's new for me too, because we we work in community health and in a primary care setting and things like that, but there was a lot of learning in that aspect and kind of what that looks like as far as the OT's role, because there's already a lot of education, here, and it's us providing that education in a different way. And sometimes it's like, duh. But a lot of the times it's like that out of the box. Oh, I never really thought about it like this
Right.
before. And
Mhm.
just adapting things so that you still can do things, but we're gonna make it easier.
Right.
So cool. Yeah, I love that. Yay. Is there a topic or an area of education you feel like you didn't receive, or that you wish you would have been able to get out of this course? I know we kind of talk about, like, over the course, there's a lot of life skills and implementing healthy lifestyle routines and tips and tricks and things like that. But I don't know, is there anything that you have thought of as we've gone through the weeks, and like maybe in your daily life, like, maybe that would have been helpful to get a little bit more education or information tools on, so anything like that?
I can't think of anything, but what pops in my mind would be something to do with grieving. I don't know how
Yes.
detailed something can get in that, but
Yep.
that happens
I actually really,
in our weeks, and I feel like that should be something,
yes,
not have to go in full depth of it,
Yeah.
but
no, I actually,
resources.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because, when we were going through that really tough week, actually, I was thinking of ways that I could provide different resources and things like that, because we really do work with, and it kind of falls into the caregiver side of OT and our education and knowledge there, but we've really come alongside families at like end of life, and we help them sort through all the paperwork and getting, and sorting expenses and budgeting and things. We really do, and obviously the emotional well-being side of
Yes.
grieving, but we 100%, that's in the scope of practice. So that's a really awesome suggestion. So thank you, because that would easily be able to be tied into through the caregiving week or the mental health week as well, because that's something we don't go through like in a consistent basis. Gosh, I would hope not, but you know, everybody goes through it in
Right.
some form or fashion. So that's very helpful. So thank you. Is this a course you would recommend to your friends and family? Why or why not?
I would say absolutely,
Yeah,
because
we recommended, but they don't come. So
You guys were like my
They don't,
cheerleaders.
you
up.
know, they
It's
don't,
been,
I don't think that they go home with the same. I'll even say peace that I have
Mhm.
from start of this class till now.
Yeah,
I go home with a peace
I love that.
that was not there prior to this,
Yeah,
and it's just lack of education.
yeah, yeah. Well, that obviously fills my heart, makes me very happy. Because I didn't expect this to be what it became, right? Like I was on a meeting with my professor this week, literally yesterday, and I was like, honestly, like this has been such a sweet treat,
Yeah.
right? Like I didn't expect to be coming over to your house and eating dinner with y'all and playing Sequence and Scrabble and having the best night of my literal life. You know, I never expected that starting
Right,
this. And
yeah.
so what a sweet experience and just
Yes.
fellowship and community,
Yes.
because now that like we've met each other and like, yes, I was able to provide you guys resources in an educational like environment, but at the same time, like outside of these walls, like we're friends now, you know, like I can, if you ever need anything, you 100%
and
reach
see,
out.
And that's what's in our minds
Yeah.
from now on,
Yeah.
is that, hey, I bet Ellie can help.
Absolutely. And I would 100% count on y'all if I ever needed anything, you know, like, hey, I'm stuck on the road. Can y'all come get me? You know, things like that too.
I got a dolly.
Yeah, there you go. I know. Come pick me up.
There you go.
Yeah, because I pass your house on the way home all the time. Well, good. That's great. What do you feel like you have personally accomplished? And this kind of might be like, what have you learned about yourself? Might fall along the similar lines, but what have you feel like you've personally accomplished? I feel like I still might know the answer, but throughout this experience.
I've accomplished about, I know I shouldn't need it.
Mm-hmm. To
you know,
discipline.
Make a better choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe gain.
Self-discipline, that's it.
Good.
A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
And
And write it down if you're gonna exercise and it makes you want to do more.
There you go. I know. And that's like the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
Just like once you've done it, you're like, wait, that's great. Okay. It's that initiation of it
Mhm.
and then the repeating it, right?
Mhm.
So good. That's a hard skill to learn because I still haven't learned self-discipline in many areas of my life. So, but to have control in that aspect is very rewarding. So
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
I feel like I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that now.
Good.
Prior to this, I didn't feel like I could,
Yeah.
and with the proper resources, I know I can.
That is just like, oh, that is music to my ears. Cause like to me, you're saying, okay, now I feel like I am empowered and I
Yes.
feel like I have control over these things that I didn't have control of. And now that I have control, like I can, obviously I have control of the direction, the way things go.
Yes.
But I don't think you would have felt that way if you didn't have the resources and breaking
Exactly.
things down. So,
That's
okay,
right.
so good. I love
100% right.
Yay. All right, last question. What action steps are you currently taking to maintain the routines and habits that you guys created throughout our course?
Daily, I do my stretches
Yep.
with my foot
Yeah.
to control the pain,
Good.
which helps my stress level.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm doing the grocery meal planning,
Mhm.
doing the grocery list, so that takes away that stress.
Yeah.
And I'm sleeping good at night,
Good.
where I wasn't.
Yes. Yeah. Because then that affects your whole day.
Yes.
Morning, evening, the whole thing. So, in attitude and snappiness, I guess, because I mean, I'm real ornery when I'll get sleep or I'm hungry.
Yes.
So good.
You
Good.
get hungry.
Yes, I do. Do y'all get hangry?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
do. I really do. I 100% do.
So
Uh,
other habits, are shutting off the screen time
Yeah,
and unwinding prior to falling asleep.
good. Yeah. And I feel like, which this just popped in my head, but with the days being a little bit brighter, for a little bit longer. I have found that like I want to wind down a little bit quicker, put my screen away and like as the sun's kind of going down, so am I, you know what I mean? Like my
Mhm.
preparing for bed
Right,
and things
yes.
like that. But I don't know if I always felt that way when it got dark so early. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I still have a couple hours before bedtime,
Right,
but the
yeah.
closer it's gotten to my bedtime,
Yeah.
I've kind of improved for me too. So good. I'm glad. What about you, Miss Frankie?
I don't know that I've taken. I don't know.
That's all
I
right.
just try to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, being intentional about it.
Mhm.
Again, that's the hard part. Like even like think
It
about when you
is.
want to get up and like go to the gym. You're like, gosh, no. But when you put your clothes on, you get out of the bed, you put your
Yeah.
clothes on, you're in the car, you can't say no now because we're on the way. It's different. So
Yes.
that's hard. So I'm glad. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
I did mow 3 yards yesterday.
You mowed 3 yards yesterday. Well, good for it was a
My
pretty day.
lawnmower got it started.
Is it a riding lawnmower or a push riding?
It's a 0 turn.
Okay, now I had my first experience on a 0
You
turn.
gotta watch
Them
them.
things are dangerous.
They are, but I've
Mhm.
never, I mean, I've never experienced quite a more, I don't know, it's very pleasing to cut grass. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's very
Well,
calming.
last
Yeah.
week the lawnmower wouldn't start,
Oh, gosh.
but this week it started.
Well, good.
I was afraid
Yeah,
that
that's
all day before I went out there and started.
Right, right.
And then I got 3 yards mowed,
Whose yard you mow? Yours and,
Renee's and
okay.
Carol's.
You are just, you
But-
are a gift.
Weed eating is yet to come.
You say that again?
Weed eating is yet to come.
Now that I again, I also like weed eating because you know, if you're doing it around sidewalk or something where
Mm-hmm.
it's very, what is it that I'm looking for? Is it like, it's not aesthetically pleasing. That's not it. It's very,
It's just seeing how good it looks when you get done. And
Yes.
it makes you feel like, man, I done this.
yes,
Accomplishment.
yes, exactly. I love that. Oh, that's good. Well, were you sore after?
No,
No, good. Good for you.
my hands cramped. Though.
Yeah, yeah.
Holding on to that.
I know I went and played tennis on Sunday and that's not something I normally do a whole lot of. And that moving back and forth, I mean, my wrist was getting sore. I was like, phew. Oh, I feel that. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop this, but we